By the expensive and very fashionable quayside in Barcelona, rich and very fashionable citizens pay homage to the city's eccentric genius, who was born 150 years ago. Every year, the brightest and best designers from home and abroad gather for the Gaudi fashion show, honouring Anthony Gaudi, architect and designer. Gaudi gave Barcelona a fairy tale park, a house of bones, a stone quarry, and a Disneyland cathedral. Today, in the fashion world, Anthony Miró is the city's favourite son.
I think Gaudi is the most important personality we have had in Barcelona. Barcelona has always had a tradition in architecture, and I think he was the most sublime. It's a different world. I think what's special about Gaudi is the fantasy that makes you dream.
Bimba Bosé is a top international model, hugely popular throughout Spain. She recognises the part Gaudi plays in her heritage.
It's like an explosion, no, of color, and he's very unique. There's nothing in Spain like that, you know. Spain has been very, with Franco and everything, you know, it's been very harsh and very strong and very, you know, lines and everything like Madrid. And he's like a complete contrast with all of that.
All this for a shabby little man whose sharp dressing gave way to dirt and carelessness. A near recluse who fiercely guarded his privacy. We know little about the man, far more about his work.
Gaudi is more than an architect. Gaudi is a genius. Gaudi is a cultural icon.
Gaudi's works have stretched architecture to the edge of fairy tale. For some, he was the greatest innovator of all, in colour, shape and material. To others, he was a religious maniac at the pinnacle of bad taste. His unfinished triumph, the Sagrada Familia, wouldn't look out of place in a theme park. Picasso mocked it. George Orwell called it one of the most hideous buildings in the world. But today, the tourists come in their millions, and for Barcelona, it's the symbol of the city. The Gaudi story is said to have begun in Riudoms, a little town in Tarragona, northern Spain. The Catalans are a proud people, and in Riudoms they are particularly proud that this is the birthplace of Gaudi. 5 miles away from Riudoms is the much larger town of Reus, where Gaudi was christened. There, they also stridently claim Gaudi's birth.
Reus and Riudoms, they're the ones that argue about Gaudi because they both have evidence to support Gaudi being born there. There's a real row going on here.
But for one Riudoms resident, there is no argument.
This was the house where Anthony Gaudi was born 150 years ago, in Riudoms. We know that is true because my great-grandmother was Anthony Gaudi's midwife.
The house is Mas de la Calderera, a cool retreat for the family on the edge of Riudoms. Gaudi's father, a coppersmith, had a workshop there. His son spent many hours watching and helping.
Modelling copper in his father's workshop, he learnt more about the 3D principles of architecture and about space than he ever learnt in the School of Architecture.
Gaudi needed the rural peace of Mas de la Calderera. He was a sickly youth who needed a